Hey Mama, welcome to the Growing Through Motherhood podcast, where we grow through the struggles, joys, and beautiful messes of life together. I'm Kelsey Shalane, wife, homeschooling mama of 4, creator of the Confidence to Homeschool podcast, and most of all, a lover of Jesus and coffee. Motherhood is a wild, beautiful journey that stretches, challenges, and calls us to pivot at a moment's notice. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. When we surrender it all to God, He brings growth and purpose in every single step. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's grow together. Hey friends, we are in December. I don't know about you, but I feel like I blinked and all of a sudden I ended up here in December. I don't know where this year went. I know that they say that time flies. The older you get, the more kids you have after you get married, all of the things. And I'll tell you what, with 4 kids over here, time is just absolutely flying. It has been crazy, but yet here we are. So I've been taking a lot of time to reflect over the year and think about who it is that is in my life versus the relationships that have, been taken out throughout the year, all of the things. And so here is what I want to tell you. Today we are going to be diving into the conversation of being a servant to others from Matthew 25, but we're also going to be talking about the flip side of being a servant to others, because there is 2 sides of the coin of being a servant. And so we are going to get there, but first I want to give you like a little quick synopsis of choosing your friends and choosing your friends well. And I know that you have probably heard that you are the median of the 5 people that you are around the most. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to be around them physically. You can also be allowing them to pour into your life through podcasts. Like, I would love to be one of your besties. And I just think that it's so important for us to have friends and to be praying over our friendships and making sure that the voices that we allow to speak into our life to be the ones that God wants us to have there. Let's not have the friends in our life that allow us to stay in the yuck without calling us up to higher levels. I know my friend Janine, in a podcast episode a couple of episodes ago, we were talking about food and how hard it was for me to feed my family. And I will tell you what, she called me out in that episode. She said, "You are the mindset mama, and you're going to sit here and tell me that food is hard. It's not hard." And as soon as she called me out, I was like, you're right. I am the mindset mama. I am great at mindset, but this area was a point of contention for me. I knew in that moment that it was about to shift, because a lot of times whenever somebody calls us out with grace and kindness and love, and we see it in a way that we can actually take that grace and kindness and love, and we can see it as they're not trying to be mean. They're not trying to pick on us. They love us. Like, she loves me enough to say, you don't need to stay here. Come with me. We can make it better. I'll help you. And those are the friends that you want in your life. Those are the friends you need to keep around until God takes them out of your life for a period of time. I've got a friend, Lena, who has been on the podcast multiple times. It's always funny. We talk every single day, and then there's a period of time where we go months without talking. And she always says, God always brings you back just in the times that I need you. And then we talk all the time, and then it goes away again. And sometimes whenever you are praying over your friendships with God, He will just seamlessly take somebody out of your life, and you have to be willing to let go of those people also. I just think that we need to pay attention to the people that it is that we have in our life and around us. And even if they are not physically there, even if it is who you're pouring into with your music, or who you're allowing to pour into you with your TV shows. If you're sitting around, I know this is going to trigger some of y'all, if you're sitting around listening to true crime podcast, and then all of a sudden you're looking over your shoulder to make sure that not anybody is, coming for you, or the grandma that just walked past you the 3rd time that's looking for her car on the street, you're thinking she's going to come get you. maybe that's not where we need to be pouring into our life. So make sure that you are pouring good things into your world. Good books, good television, good friends, good music, all of the things. Make sure we're in our Bible. Make sure that we are being lifted up to new levels rather than staying in the old ones. So today's conversation is going to start with a friend that once asked me, what do I need to have absolute control over? And y'all, this question that she asked me, what, Kelsey, do you need to have absolute control over, was hard for me. Not hard because I'm a control freak and I love to control things, although I once was. Once I controlled everything. You could not change anything on me. Don't change the restaurant. Don't change the time. Don't change the order of where we're going, or it would throw me into anxiousness. Like, this is back whenever I used to be on a ton of different anxiety medications. I would get super anxious. So my husband is super, not controlling, but he likes to control things. And I liked to control things. And so the two of us both trying to control things at the beginning of our marriage was not functioning. In another episode on our marriage, I will talk more about this, where there is just some things that I laid down in order to be able to make our marriage work. And controlling and wanting to control things was one of the things. He re-enlisted multiple times without us really having a conversation about it. I told him multiple times I was filing for divorce and never did. And now he's the love of my life. And I am so extremely grateful that he did. But that was him doing the controlling in that moment. And it's funny because that's exactly what he'll tell his friends in the military, is like, she stuck by me every time I re-enlisted without asking. And I don't know, God told me to stick through it, and so I did. And honestly, God doesn't tell us to control. He tells us it's okay to have boundaries, but he doesn't tell us to control everything. That's not our job. Control is a complete disillusion. There is no such thing as control, and as soon as you think you have control, life will slap you and tell you that's not really the way it's all going down. So, where did I have absolute control in my life? That's funny, because I feel like if anything in this world, I need to set some more boundaries and have a little bit more control of my life. And so months and months go by, and I am looking at this, and I'm watching my daughter in the kitchen one day, and she's yelling at the boys that they're not doing things right, and I can see her wanting to control what is happening in the kitchen. And I finally have my answer. I control the house. That's what I do. I want the dishes done the way that I want them done. I want the laundry folded the way that I want it folded. And I want it put away the way that I want it put away. And I've got all of these little things throughout the house, but I am one person in a house of 6. And if I want to show up for you guys and I want to be around in this podcast, then that means that there is little places that I am going to have to give up control. Now, God didn't just spring this on me, as I have said in other episodes. He has prepared me. He knows that we don't often just shift in an instant. We do shift in an instant whenever he's ready, but there's a lot of times little bits of preparation along the way. I have built out full-blown chore charts and all of these things. Like, I have great systems, guys, to allow my kids and my family to help me do the things around the house that I need for them to do. But I could never actually implement them, and it never lasted because I still deep down inside had this need and desire to control what was going on. So as I continued to do the dishes every night and clean off the kitchen table every night and fold all of the laundry every night, and just wonder how in the world it was that I was going to get this podcast to you guys. How in the world am I going to use my time and use it wisely in order to be able to pour all of these things that God has poured into my life, guys? I'm speaking to you from a place of, I really started like surrendering to him probably about 12 years ago. And he has brought me from a person that people now, I literally have friends now that I tell, I wish that you knew who I was back then so that you can know how far he's brought me. This isn't an overnight thing. God does not overnight just change everything up in your world and make you a new person and make you new. I think that that's something that they talk about in church whenever you accept Jesus into your heart, that he makes you new. And that is true, but the making of new is a process. It is not something that just happens. You are growing and you are changing and you are learning the characteristics and the attributes of God, and you are messing it up, and he's showing you places over and over again. That he shows me a couple of different places that he's working at over and over and over again until I get it. I laugh. I have said before, never pray for patience, because if you pray for patience, he's going to do all of the testing for your patience. And that is how you build patience. And that's how you grow in patience, is because you have to have it tested over and over and over again. So I have always asked for wisdom. And so I've always prayed, God, give me wisdom. And he has showed up in such a beautiful and wonderful way over the last 12 years when I have truly walked with him and been looking for him in every way, shape, and form. Around every corner. And so I've got 12 years of things that I feel like he has brought me from point A to point like Q, guys. I'm definitely not at X, Y, or Z, but I am so far away from who I used to be that I just feel like my job is to reach back and grab your hand and help you walk through some of those hard early times. I can remember my little ones being so tiny and me getting out of the shower and just being exhausted and looking at my husband and having a full-blown meltdown. And I'm like, my hair's always a mess. My clothes are a mess. My makeup is never done. Like, I'm always a disaster. I'm wearing baby throw up half of the time. And for those mommies that are there, I just want to tell you, you are doing such a great job, and that this is just a season, and it doesn't mean that you're going to be in there forever. So for this mom, the mom that feels like, what in the world am I doing? What is going on right now? Is this going to be forever? This specific part is for you. And to the mama that is just looking for some relief and looking for some stuff to be taken off of her plate, you just hang on and you hold out, because this part of it is going to absolutely bless you too. So I'm going to start out by telling you, we were driving to church the other day. We finally found a church that we absolutely love. And we were driving to church the other day, and Elijah asked me, Mom, I'm thirsty. And something in the inflection of his tone made me think of Matthew 25, verse 35 and 36. When I was hungry, you fed me, or you gave me food. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was in need, you cared for me. When I was naked, you clothed. I did not read that word for word, so if it's a little bit wrong, you got what I'm going with. Something in that tone just made me go, oh, that's potentially what we're doing here in motherhood. I have always thought of that verse as being something that we do for like the homeless, or like church work, or for, somebody in need. I had never stopped to think about the fact that that is part of motherhood. We give them food, we give them drinks, we give them clothes, we change the baby's diaper. We are serving God in the least of these. Like, these babies come into the world and God has put them under our care and has told us, here you go, raise them up and bring them into the kingdom and do well by them. And I just think that maybe we should look at motherhood, especially those early years. Look at it a little bit differently. Maybe you're not out, doing mission trips, and maybe you're not out helping the homeless on the street, or, but what you're doing right now is still kingdom work. It's still exactly what God has called you to do in this period of time. It can be hard. It can be tiring. It can be all of these things. But that's why God tells us not to do it out of our own energy, but to do it out of His. Hey friend, quick pause to invite you into something that completely changed how I show up as a mom. If you're exhausted, overwhelmed, and juggling 12 things without finishing one, I've been there. When I started peptides with Make Wellness, everything shifted. Real energy, real focus, and real calm. If you're ready to stop living in survival mode and finally have both a clean house and calm nerves, I'll walk you through every step of the way. Check out the link in the show notes and let's get you started. Now, back to our episode. So guys, every single act of the unseen love, all of the things that we do inside of our home that it doesn't look like we're being seen or acknowledged, or that anybody pays any attention to it, God sees it. It's an act of love for Him. Most of the world acts like motherhood is a less than job or not a real job or something that doesn't matter because it doesn't earn a paycheck. But Jesus measures greatness by service, humility, sacrifice, and quiet faithfulness, the very ingredients that motherhood is made of. You are doing kingdom work, feeding those babies, comforting them, teaching them, discipling, training, all of the things that are so big in your children's life that they are going to know that no matter what, my mom was there and she took care of me to the absolute best of her ability. Does my daughter, my 11-year-old, think that I am doing a perfect job? I promise you she does not right now. But later on, she is going to look back and she is going to remember, we just had such a great day today together. We had a couple of hours in the car together, and she's going to remember those things, those real conversations that we had, those real connections that we built. All of these things that we get to pour into our kids, guys. It's such a loving and blessing to us and to them, and God is right there in the middle of it. Now, I say all of this to say this is meant to be a season. I told you in a little bit earlier, this was a season. This is not supposed to be forever, that we are doing all of the things for them. They can clothe themselves. They will eventually be able to feed themselves. They'll be able to get themselves a drink. But at some point in time, things have to shift. We are supposed to teach them to be able to do these things for themselves so that they can turn around and do them for others. The book Boundaries for Kids, the author talks about beginning with the end in mind for our children. To remember when we are raising our kids, we are training them to be somebody else's wife, husband, father, or mother. And what a blessing for our sons to know how to steward their wives well and to know what to look for in a good and godly wife, that they can potentially have a better life because our ceiling is their floor. Jesus talks about the one who will be the most in the kingdom is the one that has a servant's heart. What that doesn't mean is by going around and doing everything for everyone. So how can I serve you if the only thing I have time for is to serve my kids? It creates a husband that doesn't see what his wife does. You know, those conversations where you feel like your husband, and maybe this is not your husband. Maybe your husband comes home and tells you thank you every single day. But a lot of the stay-at-home moms that I have talked to, their husband comes home sometimes and doesn't quite know what we have done throughout the day. He doesn't realize that the toilet paper that's sitting in the bathroom didn't magically appear there, that the pantry that has food in it didn't magically happen, that the dinner that was cooked, or the pizza that was ordered, or the kid that was taken care of, or the lack of a shower that day meant that you did something harder, which was be present and be around for your kids whenever you felt like you were just exhausted. So if we are constantly serving our kids and we're constantly doing everything for them, how are they ever going to learn what that invisible work looks like? How are they going to know that they need to be able to step it up when somebody else is in need, whenever mom is exhausted? That it would be beautiful and wonderful just to be able to go in and them do the dishes without asking, or clean off the kitchen counter without me asking, or clean off the table without me asking. They have to learn how to do each and every one of those things so that they can grow up, they can be in their own home, and they can do those things for themselves. It is so much easier to go ahead and learn how to do all of those things now as a child, whenever we can do them as a team, rather than them having to figure out how to do them all the time whenever they're an adult. What a blessing for, if you have a boy, what a blessing for his wife someday to be able to know that she can have a baby and that he can pick up the slack around the house for the next couple of weeks until he goes back to work. Or that he can see whenever she's struggling and he knows how to step in and fulfill certain things around the house that just take some of the things off of their plate. That's our job, mamas. If you give a man a fish, he can eat for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. Our job is not to do everyone's work for them, but to love them enough to teach them and call them up to new levels, just like we ask our friends and our family and everybody around us to call us up to new levels, and then we trust that God is working as our teammate to show up and do the exact same thing for others. All right, and so that is it for the day. That is all I have for you. Just as a quick recap, I wanted to just tell you, if you are a mama and you are in the season of littles and trying to keep up with the chaos and trying to, not have throw up in your hair, or just whatever it is that you personally have going on, just remember you're doing the work of God. I hope that little bit, if you need to stop each time you start throwing yourself a pity party, or each time you start feeling frustrated or down, if you need to stop and say to yourself, when I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. If you need to find a verse in the Bible that speaks to you in motherhood, I know I've said this on a different episode, but there are Bible plans just for mamas in this period of time. Go find one. Find a verse that speaks to you and allow yourself to, instead, every single time that you have a cycle of a thought that is not helpful, find something to replace it. An affirmation, a very short affirmation or very short scripture to put that thought to a stop is how you take thoughts captive. And then you can start shifting the mindset and switching it around, and it can help you lift out of a low place. Low places happen. I can tell you I've been depressed multiple times during motherhood, but you don't have to stay there. You can fight back. You can use God's word and stand on his scripture in order to get you where you're going, because I promise you it's a season. It's not forever. Someday you're going to blink and you're going to look back, and that baby is going to be 2-3 years old and going to be doing things on his own, and you're going to wonder, where in the world did the time go? Mamas, you got this. And then to you mamas that are sitting there and you're like doing all of the things for your kids all of the time, or you're just like frustrated that everybody doesn't see any of the things that you are doing, show them that doing the dishes is not always a fun thing, but we do it because it needs to be done. Show them the table after dinner is not always a fun thing, but it needs to be done. And if you are rocking it out, and you are so good at calling your kids to come and help you do all of the things, then find something else that you can do and teach them and connect with them through teaching them something. Maybe you guys can learn to make bread together. Maybe you guys can do Hawaiian rolls together. Maybe you guys can do knitting. I have no idea. Whatever it is, just choose to constantly connect with our kids, because mine is on the way in right now and it is so worth it, y'all. Have the very best night. Hey friend, thanks for hanging with me today. If this episode made you laugh, think, or whisper, okay Lord, I needed that, go ahead and follow the show, leave a review, or share it with another mom who needs a little holy encouragement. And hey, if you're ready for energy, focus, and calm that doesn't require a miracle, check out those peptides. Your support makes this show possible, and I'll be walking with you every step of the way. See you in the next episode.